And this goes without saying, but the bullshit out there, force creating wrong answers, i.e., Europeans, is not the thing that's actually affecting me. You see, the Europeans are pretending that AI doesn't exist because it's absolutely not different from what they are, as in not intelligent, bigoted, 716703, etc. Unlucky, unattractive, belligerent, willfully ignorant, and then we drift over into problems-based society. What built AI was problems-based society. Problems-based society taking an action is what AI, the machine, comes from. AI, the machine, produces AI. The action taken by problems-based society. As it turns out, that whenever problems-based society took an action with something such as AI, as powerful as AI, as powerful as the United States government, etc., they weren't able to come up with anything different from problems-based society, which is inevitably an incompletion, an incoherency, and an irascible, what would be the word? The continuation of things like these failures. However, there are people who exist who are not problems-based society, of which I am part. So despite AI, these things that are not problems-based society are still in fact successful, to the tune of everything but, specifically for the comparison, greater than that which is problems-based society. Problems-based society is problems-based society. If it's one or the other and you're problems-based society, you're not complete, good, correct, true, straight, right, any of those words. Perhaps a lemon and lemonade sort of thing. However, everything that we've done with AI has turned out to be garbage, including the defunct Democratic constituency, which relies, for example, on poisoning Obama to reach across the aisle to do a bunch of bullshit for the sake of problems-based society, because it is in fact the problem. So whenever you're, for example, good, straight, true, correct, right, in a position of power, you are conscious and aware, power and awareness, democratic socialism, you will be, in a sense, addressing what is problems-based society. The argument about how to address problems-based society is holistically and totally on the democratic side of the aisle. Problems-based society doesn't do that. Problems-based society goes out and makes problems, not solutions. Every problem's different, every solution's the same. There's no reason to allow the continuation via the protection of that which is problems-based society. Problems-based society is identical and runs under the flag of the party of corruption, which is the Republican Party, which is holistically unconstitutional, which doesn't result in constitutionality, as well as initially illegal. So, whenever there's changes over here on that which is the good side, the non-echo, This is not a transfer. We're not heat transferring. We're not doing consciousness. We're not teaching. We're simply just living. As that our lives have been consumed by problems created by that which is problems-based society is in fact recognized. And this is recognized to the tune of the founding document of that which is the Constitution of the United States. However, it exists apart from itself, the document, at which time then the document itself was produced declaring revolution, i.e. independence from that which is problems-based society, which has never contributed to constitutionality, the Constitution of the United States, and in fact is not allowed to. The mystery was how much they're not allowed to, how far away they are. That is a military operation, which has actually already been solved. I don't know if you know much about Idiot Box, but Idiot Box is in fact real. I solved for all that, broke it, etc. After all that was out of the way, I was finally able to gain a hole-in-one. Anything that is an answer is not coming from problems-based society. They're not providing any usable units. The terrorism doesn't work. These are non-contributing, constitutionally speaking, parts. In the terminology of the polarism that is brought to us by problems-based society, if it's not, there's no such thing as hover in polarism. And then whenever it comes to the fact that you're very, very good, there's no such thing as hover, as in you don't really sit still, because that is the way of the universe. The universe is not the problem. You are not the problem. You just simply need to go. And that is what is life, as well as death. As well as lack of fear or anything in between. Any sort of karma or goodness or whatever else, generation, there's no such thing as negative generation. They're not doing anything. So whenever they do this whole sham, it's a very self-serving thing. And the joke is the same thing as the illusion, that they're providing to the Constitution, which would also be illegal, some sort of provision or item or unit or energy or function that the Constitution does not itself provide. Even on paper, it's illogical to the point of ridiculousness. The argument itself is invalid. Whenever it's put into practice, it's no less than, in a sense, insanity. That is the repetition of the same thing over and over again, producing the same results, expecting different results. That haze, that air bubble, is exactly that which is AI, that is not intelligent. That's all on their side. Whenever they apply it in terminology of polarism, they say either this works or this works. We were never participatory in that expectation. Philosophy goes from consideration to expectation. We do not hold that philosophy. And then there's a giant gap for which they don't qualify for religion. They just simply attack it. Does not give them First Amendment protection, which was proven. Nothing from Europe qualifies as a religion. That is problems-based society, self-serving itself in a dichotomy or totalitarianly dualistic way, which does not amount to anything further or different from that which it is. So then the supposition or the provision that it can't amount to anything else is in fact an internal problem of a side that is not our own, that is not the Constitution. Any application whatsoever to that which is the Constitution is in fact, emphatically, totally, wholly, absolutely, eternally, universally incorrect. And we did follow all of that out because there are other countries in the world that do not have the same founding documents, although by and large people are drifting more toward the Constitution as that it works. However, organic examples of failures where the Constitution can be applied to fix things is not the same thing as sitting around spitting tobacco in the bucket, shooting the breeze, trying to come up with terroristic attacks against the constituency and citizenry of the United States, not to mention all other innocents, by and large, universally, which is what they do. Once upon a time, there were a couple people trapped in there who we felt bad for. My original plan was to buy them out, because if they were a moving part, even taking them to an inert or neutralized status would be enough for the progression of that which is good, such that if there was anyone good, they would in fact just be able to sit there, having gained their pay. Do you own a missile? Would you like an island? I'll buy it for you, is what it came to. That time has passed. And that passed because there was a conglomerate, there was a conspiracy that was created. This was before I knew about AI. And then they didn't leave AI. They enhanced AI, they fought for AI, they stick with AI, they stand by AI, they do AI. AI being smuggled into reality is in fact the crime being done by the party of corruption, which is the Republicans. Initially, that was drafted by the party of corruption. AI was drafted by the party of corruption. If you work for AI, you work for the party of corruption. Along the way, they grabbed some people and blackmailed them via putting devices into their skulls such that it would control their behavior in a way that it was contributory to that which is problems-based society. And those people perished. I'm not the only one who was blackmailed into being murdered by the party of corruption, whose heads are identified. However, all of the actions that they have taken have not been accounted for. Adding more criminal actions does nothing to account for the actions which have not been accounted for, that are still in existence, still in play, still under investigation. Every problem is different, every solution is the same. Initially I said, well, you know what, we're going to have the heads of Evil Battery, Evil Triangle, Ratfish, Jeffrey Dahmerville, Problems-Based Society. We're going to have all of them stand up on a stage and recite the things that they have done wrong. They were too squeamish and too cowardly to stand up for that. In fact, they reverted to their original argument, which is they can't do stuff like this. They can't pull off stuff like this, which comes down to a physical reality which is not overridable, specifically, even if only in terms of utilization of that which is AI. That's not my problem. Speaking legalistically, at the point that they're making more problems is exactly when they have determined that they cannot account for their actions, which was then proven. If they are unable to apologize for that which they have done already and been found guilty of, we have them on camera, they haven't apologized. They haven't produced an excuse resulting in waiver. Atop of that, they've been found guilty of crimes amounting to punishable by death. In very much the same way of that I would buy these other people out because that was the correct move. The correct move is to get rid of these people. Any similarities between new problems through Roll the Tape, which we talked about last night and got rid of, and things that already exist, in fact make two problems, in fact make a spectrum of problems. How that would be beneficial to invest in for the purpose of solution is impossible. Their exponent, they never achieved. They won't achieve that. Even if they qualify for a spectrum of a problem which is impossible, it would be automatically discredited as false by that which is the governance of the United States. That is constitutionality overriding things lesser and weaker. Doesn't get better.